What's up, Game Replays and YouTube? This is Lollybo, and you're watching yet another one of my Men of War Shoutcasts. Today we have FrozenLiquidity and two other people from the Game Replays community playing a 3-on-3. And in case you're interested, the way that these guys meet up is that we have a Men of War public Ventrilo channel. So if you're ever want to play with someone and you're lonely on a Friday night and have nothing better to do than play Men of War, like me, then you can use that public Ventrilo channel to find other nerds to play with. Currently, it seems like everyone went infantry start. That an infantry start's good because you get boots on the ground quickly, you can cap quickly. But a negative side effect is that anything that hard counters infantry and you're pretty much boned. Well, I see a Puma and a Panzer III coming out, but if you just go all infantry, if they get like an MG or an armored car, then they might push you off the map real quick. Then you have to wait for your resources to go up again and buy an anti-vehicle mechanism. But in this case, that wasn't necessarily a problem. I think it's based on the game mode. They're probably playing no refund, which means that you get your resources faster to start. So you might not have to worry about not having early game anti-tank. So if you wanted to, you could spam infantry, or you can be a little bit on the safe side and get like an AT dude. An AT dude never hurts because in the beginning they can't really throw anything out that an AT gun can't handle. The biggest you get is probably like a Puma or a Panzer III, or even then you could shoot the Puma and take it out with AT rifle, or shoot out the Panzer III's treads. In the right, he's direct firing. Wow, that was pretty good. He somehow knew, or he assumed there was infantry in the bush and primed a grenade and chucked it in there and managed to kill people. That's a tactic I like to do. Well, I like Men of War because it rewards observant players. He must have seen people shuffling in the bushes or something and knew there was a guy there. So that was the clue which allowed him to throw a grenade. And he's getting riflemen to set up sandbags. Sandbags are always a good idea to fortify position. However, I disagree with the way he's setting his sandbags. He's putting it in front of and to the sides of the point. I prefer to set my sandbags behind the point, so you're watching over the point. Because if you put your sandbags too forward, then the enemy can capture the sandbags and use it for himself. So that's why I like to put sandbags behind. Plus, you're putting riflemen behind those sandbags most of the time anyway. So, and riflemen have more range than submachine guys. So there's no real reason why you want to put the sandbags all the way up close. So I'd rather put them behind. But he's also putting sandbags behind bushes, and that's important because a nice way to put your sandbags or any strategic asset, be an officer, a sniper, or a mortar, is put it in a bush or somewhere if there's a lot of bushes around. If there's one bush in the middle of a desert or something, you don't want to put it there, because then on team chat or in-game chat, the enemy can say his officer is hiding in the bush. You want to put it in a nondescript area, or if you put it in the bush, then there's like 100 bushes in this case. So we can just, if he says the officer's behind a bush, you won't know which bush you're talking about. So that's just a neat trick, keeping in mind how your opponents are going to communicate with each other to take out your high-low assets. Frozen really likes to use direct control. Right now he's direct controlling a dude prone. He's proning to make sure he doesn't get detected. And I like to use infantry as really cheap scouts. As you can see here, he just primed his grenade. If he primes a grenade, it can explode faster. It gives your opponent less time to see it and run away. So that's why direct control is good. Like I said before, I like Men of War because it rewards players for being observant and having good micro. You can see enemies coming in bushes and whatnot. And what he's doing is, what Frozen's doing right now is setting up a line of infantry. So nothing can sneak behind him. Actually, that's what all his allies are doing. One strategy that I believe Frozen or somebody on the Game Replays forum invented was a line of infantry strategy. If you have a line of infantry, especially on this map where it's so narrow, then you can cover the entire front line. Nothing can sneak behind you. They won't be able to sneak a tank or an armored car or a sniper. See, in the middle we have a flamethrower chasing an armored car, which is actually kind of funny. He put his flamer in an ambush position. What I like to do is hide flamers behind corners or in a pit or something, or behind a bush, and put it on hold fire, so we can wait until a nice juicy tank or a group of infantry come by and light up on fire. But unfortunately, that flamethrower couldn't really get that armored car because armored cars are fast. But as you can see, it's looking pretty good for Frozen and his team right now. They have all 3 middle points locked down. One of the negative effects of what they're doing, basically a line of infantry tactic, is that well, in a refund game, you're taking up space. What you're using in defense could have been used in offense and taking their points. So right now they're playing kind of passively. They're really just bunkering down and waiting for the opponent to come. I like to take the tempo of the fight, so I like to go on the offense. But I'm pretty sure this is a no refund game. There's a big debate on what's better, no refund or refund games. I personally like no refund, but refund can be fun too. Looks like refund or no refund promotes camping and waiting until someone gets the biggest tank, which I don't really like. I prefer refund. It's more forgiving, but it encourages use of light vehicles and whatnot, whether the other mode just rewards you for having the bigger tank and the better tank. Frozen's playing kind of conservatively. He has an officer in the scouting it out. Actually, I don't know if the officer was the best choice because he hasn't really seen much action. I'd rather get an officer if I know they're hiding a pesky sniper somewhere, or they keep removing a mortar, and I'd like to have sight. Because the officer costs a lot. It costs it's over 10 points for sure. It's been a while since I played the game, so I know it's over 10, but they're definitely not cheap. So instead of an officer, he could have gotten like a scout, like a recon team, like a special forces recon team with more offensive firepower. But he got an officer. So before you get an officer, you should really think, is it really worth it to get an officer? Should I really sacrifice that light tank or special forces squad for this officer? Because they're really expensive. But in this case, it wasn't like he was bombarded by artillery or being annoyed by a sniper or anything. He just bought an officer, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, but personally I would have done something differently. Or maybe an officer was a good example in this case, because his enemy is hiding in a lot of bushes. I like what's going on here. He's using a Panzer IV-E. The Panzer IV-E is the Panzer IV-G and H's younger brother. The HE rounds are the same, but the penetrating power is terrible on the Panzer IV-E because its barrel is very short. The round barely has any velocity. You can even see the round in the air traveling slowly. It's not a fast shell at all. But it's a fantastic infantry support tank because it's not that expensive. It has a anti-aircraft machine gun, so it could kill those pesky people trying to sneak up on it. It has a turret, which is always good, and it fires the round in a convenient arch. So if people are hiding behind cover, behind sandbags, or behind little hills, sometimes it can shoot over it because it fires it in the arch, and that's what I like about it. So he's basically using his officer and the Panzer IV-E as an anti-infantry combo. He can scout people out with the officer and fire quote-unquote artillery in the form of the Panzer IV-E at them, which is pretty good. But that's a pretty expensive way to deal with infantry, I think. Like I said, when you go with an officer, really think about whether you need the officer or not. In this case, I think he could have done that cheaper. Like, if he just got one sniper, he would be able to deal with those dudes hiding in the bushes. Unless snipers can't see people who are prone in bushes. I don't remember if they could. But a sniper and one rifleman scouting out for the sniper could have also done the same job. In the left, there's some crazy things going on here. A vehicle just got destroyed that was moving. I was busy talking about snipers and Panzer IV-Es that I kind of spaced out. Sorry about that. That's one of the bad things about these games, is that when there's a 3-on-3, there's a ton of stuff going on in the game, but I can only see what the player recording the video is showing me. So that's one negative side effect of Men of War not having a proper replay system, which I hope is fixed in the expansion pack. Hopefully Heroes Badge will have a way where you can save replays, in which case these vidcasts formats might be superseded. They might become obsolete if you can individually focus on what you want to see instead of just seeing what the person who's recording it allows you to focus on.